3 a.m. You're lying in bed, eyes open, brain running, tomorrow's to-do list already crushing your chest. You think, maybe I should see a doctor. But you know the truth. No pill can fix this. There's a kind of tired that sleep doesn't fix. You know the one I'm talking about. You sleep for 8 hours, but you're still exhausted. Not physically. Physically, you're fine. Your body works, heart beats, lungs breathe. But there's this weight. It sits on your chest every morning before you even open your eyes. It's already there, waiting. You get up, make coffee, check your phone. 47 unread emails, 12 text messages, a calendar that looks like a war zone. And you think, I can do this. I've done this before. But here's what you don't say out loud. I don't know how much longer I can keep doing this. Maybe you're 42. Maybe you're 55. On paper, you're winning. Good job. Nice house. Family's okay. People look at you and think, they've got it together. But late at night, when the house goes quiet, you feel like you're running on a treadmill someone else built, and you can't remember why you got on it in the first place. So here's my question for you. When did being alive become so exhausting? Not the big tragedies, not the dramatic crisis, just existing, just showing up, just being the responsible one. When did that become the heaviest thing you carry? If you felt something shift in your chest just now, if you thought, yes, that, exactly that, then this video is your mirror. Because what you're experiencing isn't burnout. It's not depression. It's not even stress. It's something deeper. And today, we're going to name it. Carl Jung, one of the most brilliant minds in psychology, discovered something radical about human beings. He found that most of us aren't living as ourselves. We're living as a character, a role, a performance. He called this the persona. The persona is the mask you wear to survive in society. It's the reliable one, the high achiever, the strong one who never complains, the perfect parent. And here's the thing, you wore it for so long, you forgot it was a mask. You think that's who you are, but it's not. It's who you had to become to be accepted, to be valued, to be safe. Let me show you what this looks like in real life. You're at a family dinner. Your brother asks, "How's work?" You smile and say, "Great, busy, but great." Inside, you're screaming, "I hate my job. I'm drowning. I can't breathe." But you don't say that because the mask won't let you. That mask has become so tight, you've forgotten you're wearing it until one day it cracks and you don't know who's underneath anymore. And that exhaustion you feel, that's not laziness. That's not weakness. That's your soul screaming. Because underneath the mask, there's a version of you that's been buried for decades. The version that wanted to paint. The version that didn't care about promotions. The version that could sit still without feeling guilty. Now, let me be brutally honest with you. Quantum physics discovered something that sounds like mysticism, but is actually mathematics. You are not a solid thing. At the subatomic level, you're 99.999999% empty space. What you call you is just energy vibrating at a specific frequency. And that frequency, it changes based on what you're carrying. Think about it. Fear vibrates low. Love vibrates high. And exhaustion? Exhaustion is what happens when you're vibrating at a frequency that isn't yours. When you're living a life tuned to someone else's station, your body knows. Your cells know. That's why you're tired. Not because you worked too hard, but because you've been working against yourself. Here's the brutal truth. The exhaustion you feel is grief. Grief for the person you never got to become. Grief for the dreams you shelved because that's not realistic. Grief for the 20-year-old version of you who had no idea that success would feel this hollow. And society won't validate this grief. Because on the outside, you're fine. You're functional. You're successful. So you can't complain. But your soul doesn't care about optics. Your soul only knows, this is not the life I came here to live. And until you stop, until you take off the mask, until you ask, who am I? Without the titles, the roles, the expectations, the exhaustion will stay. Let me tell you a story about water, about what happens when you stop something that was designed to move. Imagine a river, not a wild river, not a free river, but a river that was dammed 30 years ago. The dam was built for good reasons, to generate power, to control flooding, to irrigate, to be useful. And the river? It did its job. It powered cities. It irrigated farms. It fed the system. Everyone said, "Look at that river. So productive. So reliable." But if you stood at the edge of the dam, if you listened closely, you'd hear something underneath the surface. A vibration. A pressure. The river trying to remember what it was like to flow. Because here's the thing about rivers. They weren't designed to be still. A river that doesn't move becomes stagnant. The water turns dark. The life inside it dies. Not because the river is broken, but because it's doing something it was never meant to do. Staying in place. You are that river. You were designed to flow, to change direction, to carve new paths. But somewhere along the way, someone built a dam. Maybe it was your parents' expectations. Maybe it was society's script. Get the degree, get the job, get the house. Then you'll be happy. Maybe it was your own fear. If I stop being useful, will anyone still love me? And you agreed. You said, "Okay, I'll be the dam. I'll hold it all together." And for years, it worked. You were strong, reliable, productive. But inside, the pressure was building. Stop the video for a second. Right now, I want you to put your hand on your chest. Feel your heartbeat. Now ask yourself, am I living my life or performing someone else's? If your chest tightened just now, if your breath caught, that's not anxiety. That's your body telling you the truth your mind won't admit. Okay, let's continue. And here's what they don't tell you about dammed rivers. Eventually, they break. Not slowly, not peacefully. They break violently. The pressure builds for years, decades, until one day, crack. Everything you've been holding back floods out, and it destroys everything in its path. That's not a metaphor. That's your next breakdown waiting to happen. Unless you start letting the river flow today, not next year when you retire, not when the kids grow up, today. So what do you do? How do you find your way back when you've been lost for so long? Here's the truth most self-help gurus won't tell you. No one is coming to save you. Not your therapist, not your partner, not your best friend, not some video on YouTube, not even me. This is your dam. You built it, you maintained it, and only you can dismantle it. But let me reframe it. If you built it, you can unbuild it. That's not harsh. That's empowering. Because if the dam is yours, so is the river. And you get to decide, what does flowing look like for me? But here's the part everyone skips. You have to choose to, every single day. So here's what that looks like. Practice 1. The morning inventory. Before you check your phone, before you start the to-do list, before you put on the mask, sit for 2 minutes, just 2, and ask yourself 3 questions. What would I do today if no one was watching? What am I doing out of fear, not love? If I could let go of one thing today, what would it be? Don't answer immediately. Just sit with the questions. Let them disturb you, because the answers are already inside you. You've just been too busy to listen. Write them down if you want, or don't. But ask them every single morning, and watch what happens over 30 days. Practice 2. The 5-minute grief. This one's hard, but necessary. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Sit somewhere private, and give yourself permission to grieve. Not for something specific. Just grieve. For the life you thought you'd have. For the person you used to be before you learned to perform. For the dreams you buried because they weren't practical. You don't need to cry. You don't need to process anything. You just need to acknowledge, yes, I lost something, and I'm allowed to feel that. Because here's what no one tells you. You can't heal what you won't feel. And you can't feel what you won't name. So name it for 5 minutes. Then get up, wash your face, continue your day. But the dam, it'll crack a little, and that's good. Practice 3. The permission slip. Write this down on a piece of paper. Right now, I give myself permission to stop performing. Put it somewhere you'll see it every day. Bathroom mirror, car dashboard, laptop screen. And every time you see it, pause, take 1 breath, and ask, am I performing right now, or am I being real? Because the exhaustion isn't from doing too much. It's from doing too much that isn't yours. And every time you see that note, it's a reminder. You don't owe the world a flawless performance. You owe yourself a real life. Now, here's the hard part nobody wants to hear. These 3 practices won't fix you overnight. You won't wake up tomorrow and feel reborn. But if you do them consistently, if you're brave enough to let the mask slip just a little, if you're willing to feel the grief instead of running from it, something will shift. Not the world around you, but the weight inside you. Because here's what Jung discovered after decades of studying the human psyche. The goal of life isn't to become someone, it's to become yourself. And the quantum physicists agree. You're not a fixed thing. You're a field of infinite possibilities. The version of you that's exhausted, that's just one frequency. You can tune to another, but first, you have to stop. Stop running. Stop performing. Stop pretending you're fine when you're drowning. The river doesn't flow by force. It flows by letting go of the dam. So here's your invitation. Let go. Not of your responsibilities, not of the people you love, but of the story that says, I have to be this way to be worthy. You were worthy before you achieved anything. You were worthy before you became successful. You were worthy the day you were born. And you're still worthy now, even exhausted, even confused, even if you don't have it all figured out. Your worth isn't in what you do. It's in the fact that you exist. If you made it this far, thank you. I know this wasn't an easy conversation. I know parts of it probably hurt, but you stayed. And that tells me something about you. You're ready. Not to change everything, but to stop pretending that nothing needs to change. Now, I want you to know something. You're not the only one watching this at 2 a.m. wondering if things will ever feel light again. Last week, someone commented, I'm 53. I thought I was the only one feeling this way. Thank you for saying what I couldn't. Another person wrote, I quit my job last month after 15 years. Scariest thing I've ever done, but I can breathe now. My kids say I smile again. This isn't just you. This is an entire generation waking up to the same truth. We've been living someone else's definition of success. And now, one by one, we're taking the mask off. So, before you go, I want to ask you something. Where are you watching this from? And if you've walked through this exhaustion and made it to the other side, if you've figured out how to put the mask down, share your wisdom in the comments. Because someone reading this right now needs to hear from you, not from me, but from someone who's been exactly where they are. We're building something here, not just a channel, but a place where people can stop performing and start being real, where exhaustion isn't a weakness. We're asking, is this all there is? Isn't ungrateful. It's human. You're not alone in this. We're walking this path together, and every step you take toward yourself is a step toward freedom. Welcome home.